Hello, I am Kathy Lafreniere, and I am the instructional coach in the Social Studies Department at Glasgow Middle School. We are very excited to welcome your family to our Glasgow community next year. I am here to tell you about a course called Humanities for Young Scholars that is specifically designed for your child. At some point in your child's elementary years, a teacher or a team of teachers recommended your child for young scholars, meaning that they saw potential in your child. And these are the pillars that we believe when we say young scholars, that your child should have access to advanced level class coursework. Your child should have access to opportunities to think more critically and creatively, collaborate effectively with others, and showcase their talents. We want them to be leaders at Glasgow. So we are super excited to offer this class specifically designed for our young scholars. This is not a class that is busy work. There are no multiple choice tests. There is not homework. There are not packets. What we want to pull out is critical thinking skills. We do debates, we do projects. It's a fun, engaging course that brings out the talent in our young scholars. We want them to be advocates and ask higher level thinking questions. So, as I said before, it is an elective. When your child sits down with their counselor to choose their courses for next year, they will have options to choose electives. Some electives are half year, some are full year. Humanities for Young Scholars is one full year elective. So where you see the two yellow arrows, those would be their options if they choose this course. They can do 2 full year electives, or they can do 1 full year and 2 half year. And again, they will be doing this with their counselor. But here is an example of what it looks like. These are the full year electives offered at Glasgow, and Humanities for Young Scholars only is down at the bottom. So I'm going to tell you about some of the units we have done. We start the year off building that sense of community, and we talk about identity and what our learning strengths are and what our weaknesses are. We talk also about what a fixed mindset looks like and a growth mindset, because we want to grow on that continuum towards a growth mindset. In addition to that, we talk about people from the past who may have had fixed mindsets or growth mindsets, and what were the characteristics that fed into that belief. And then we went into a cool geography class project where we learned more just about the world around us. And we used Google Earth to travel around the world and create a vacation plan. Then we talked about, is Native American sovereignty honored today? And we had a very respectful debate about that. And then right before Thanksgiving, we went into what's the real story of Thanksgiving, and we talked about those hidden perspectives, the story we may have learned when we are younger in elementary school, what perspectives are missing, what pieces of that story might be hidden. Then we talked about how different perspectives influence colonization. And then we went into a unit on African American resistors and how do people create positive change. And we studied people from the past to current day. Right now, we are doing a media literacy unit thinking about facts versus bias. And we are reading this phenomenal book called The Boys in the Cave. They are so into it because the author is Matt Gutman, who is a news reporter and journalist. And so we talk about how he delivers the story through facts and interviews. Then we also look at things from the past that may have shown bias. We may have learned it through bias, or we think that we learned it through facts. So we make a lot of connections. So I'm going to show you inside the classroom. This is at the beginning of the year. The kids came in. They wanted to share what they already know about the world. And we found out, whether it was from history class or current day, they actually know quite a lot about the world already. Here is the class. Not all the kids are pictured. Some were being camera shy. And we're going to come back to this, and we're going to see how much more we know about the world and add on to this map. Like I said before, we want your child to have access to advanced thinking routines. Right here is the example of an advanced thinking routine. When we do something like this, what we're thinking about when we unravel stories, or we talk about text, or we talk about historical events, we talk about what the main story is. What's that side story that is mentioned but not really focused on? And then what's that hidden story? What's being left out? And that is very advanced, because students, to get to that thinking of what that hidden story is, they're going beyond and making inferences. This is Miss Cotter, the fabulous teacher teaching this course currently. She is working with a small group of students, talking about a current day issue. We were talking about the teacher protest in Chicago. And what we are trying to do is try to get our students to think about whose independence is being sacrificed, who's holding the power, and who do they support. So we respectfully take a stance on issues and then talk about that. Library Service got word of this class and loved it so much that they donated every child in the class their very own copy of The Undefeated, which is a powerful, sophisticated picture book that directly ties into their History 6 curriculum. Here are some of the things the kids have said about this course. My favorite one is right in the middle. My favorite part about Humanities is that even though we are kids, we can fight for our rights. And that is so true. We really want them to be respectful advocators in the community and leaders. Here are some examples of some books we have read in class. We've read a lot of books. This is just a few, but we usually read them together, and we do these read alouds, such as the one I mentioned here. Another one they really loved was Refugee, down in the left corner. That, even though it's a fiction book, very much we made some connections to real issues today. And we also learned about some historical disturbing events from the past. So when we enter into this class, we put a lot of debatable ideas on the table, which means that we're not always looking for a right or wrong answer. So sometimes we do things that they can connect with, and sometimes we do things that are like from our history curriculum. So this is one example of how we're trying to teach them about how tensions can lead up to different political events. So I talked about how I was going to put parental controls on my daughter's phone. And I was going to control her social media. I was going to control, get updates if I saw concerning words. And I asked the kids, so who do you support? Do you support me or my daughter? Because my daughter is very, very upset with me. So we went through this whole continuum. Who do you support? Parents, daughter. Who holds the power? Parents, daughter. Who feels like their independence is taken away? Parents or daughter. And as they learned more about my perspective and my daughter's perspective, they changed their stance. And that's okay. That's what we really want them to do. So sometimes we use content related materials to go into debatable ideas, and sometimes we use real life experiences. This is what fosters their communication, their collaboration, and their critical thinking skills. When the kids first walked into the class, and your kids probably don't know this either, they did not know what humanities is. So as the year progresses, we've been adding words to our wordle, and these are some of the words that are jumping out: perspectives, learn, critically, missing, background, geography, community, respect. We cannot wait to have your Young Scholar at Glasgow next year. I truly hope you sign up for this incredible experience in this course. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact me. My name is Kathy Lafreniere, and there is my email. And you can also contact our advanced academic resource teacher. Dr. Lawrence Randolph, and he'd be happy to answer any questions. Take care. We look forward to seeing you next year.